Driven in the air to deep left field off the bat of Nando. It is gone! 2 home runs today in the return of Fernando Tatis Jr.
My guy, we are back after a little break.
Sir.
Tell me about the internship, the Little League.
Yeah. So obviously we didn't get to record last week at all because the Little League Softball World Series was in Greenville, North Carolina, which is where
Yes,
ECU
sir.
is. So that was from Wednesday the 11th through Wednesday the 18th. So that was 7 days,
Okay.
8 days actually. It was really cool. I mean, you don't realize like how tough softball actually is until you like sit down and watch it. Again, like I saw some of it in the Olympics, whatever, but like, I mean, I can't even imagine trying to hit it when they're throwing underhand
Dude,
like that.
no.
I mean, that's just kind of crazy, but yeah, it was cool. There was a team from New York that was there too. So
Okay.
I was kind of trying to root for them a little bit, trying not to be biased though either while I was there.
Right.
Because
Where in New York,
I
do
was
you know?
working there. Somewhere upstate. I think about an hour upstate away from
Gotcha.
Manhattan. So something like
Okay.
that. But yeah, so Oklahoma, the team from Oklahoma ended up winning the whole thing.
Got you. Okay.
So, I mean, they were really good. It was crazy to see how good they were. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot of long days, a lot of like 14-hour, 15-hour days because games
The
started at
intern
10.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, and the last game was at 7. There was like
Damn.
a couple hours in between every game, and we had to get there early and stay late to clean up and stuff. But
Right.
now I'm done and gonna be all graduated now. So that
Nice,
was,
man.
yeah,
Good
it
way
was
to
a lot of
close it
fun.
out.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Tell me,
So how are you doing? It looks like you're in California right now.
dude, I'm back. I am back in
Yeah.
the City of Angels. Yeah. So we have our semester starting this Monday. So
Monday.
I'm back for that.
Yeah.
I caught the Dodger Met game last night. That was
Oh
good.
yeah.
I mean, well, we lost. You know,
What was the
shockingly.
score? Was 3-2?
It was 3-2.
It was a close game, right? Yeah.
We loaded the bases in the 8th, but shockingly we didn't score. So,
All right. Well, we'll
good
get
dude,
back into the Mets offense a little bit later. But,
no, we definitely will. But
yeah,
dude, give me what was the favorite thing you saw last week?
So for me, this is kind of something that not everybody would probably have seen. The game was on ESPN, but it's a Yankee player that's not really very well known, Andrew Velasquez. He made a sick game-ending play. I don't know if you saw it or not.
I think
he
I
made
did.
like
Yeah.
a sliding catch on a short hop at shortstop, and then threw it to first and got him by like an inch. Dude, it was like super close play. But they called him out, they reviewed it, and the call stood. And I just thought this was awesome because a lot of people don't know this, but he was born in the Bronx. He went to high school in the Bronx, played baseball there in high school. He grew up a Yankees fan, and so he's been wanting to do this for a long time. And he is currently living with his parents because
really?
he's so close to the stadium, and he hasn't really, obviously, he's not very well known. He hasn't gotten the bag yet. So that's pretty funny tidbit. I bet not a lot of guys end up living with their parents when they're in the big leagues. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Dude, maybe after this play, maybe if he keeps it up, he gets a new place. But that almost reminds me a little bit of who is it? Dylan Betances, I think, grew up in the city. He
did.
Went to school, like high school in one borough, like college in the next, and then he ended up in the Bronx. So
yeah,
it's always cool to see like a home
too. So
yeah, now he clearly pitched a lot with us. Yeah, but he made his way to Queens. But
what do you got for yours?
Dude, so this was actually last night at the Mets Dodgers. So me and my friend were leaving the game and we wanted to take a quick picture. There was like this big like Dodger bobblehead statue. I don't even know what it was, but we're like, oh, just take a quick picture. And I look over at it and there's a Mets fan like posing for a picture, and he has a brown garbage bag over his head with a sad face like drawn on it. It was actually so funny. It was, I mean, like, it was terrible. Like, it wasn't like actually something I wanted to see, you know, but
no,
it was,
oh man,
because it was just like, you know, he brought it into the stadium anticipating that he would later take it. So
yeah, that is unfortunately the life of some Mets fans right now. So
bro, I will lose with this team for the rest of my life. I don't care. I'm down for it.
Oh yeah.
So it was a good we'll get into their sitch in a little bit. couple news things to run through. So this was also last night. Dodgers unveiled the new City Connect uniforms, the Los Dodgers, the all blue. Dude, I don't know. Curious to hear your thoughts on that. They're kind of ugly in my opinion.
Dude, I mean, the potential that they had for this, and then that was the final product.
Dude.
Like, I mean, come on. I like the Los Dodgers thing. Like, that's cool because you know better than anybody that like LA, California area, there's a lot of like Hispanic people that are there from different countries like that, from down South America, things like that.
Central America, yeah.
Central America too. And I mean, you could have done something else except for just that. And I didn't like how on the hat it said the exact same thing as the jersey. That was kind of stupid.
No, it looks weird.
Yeah, you never see a baseball hat that has like all that writing on it. It was like for an MLB team. I mean, like that was kind of strange. And like the blue pants for the Dodgers just like didn't really make much sense.
Color,
to me at all.
I feel like color on color just doesn't work in baseball. I mean, maybe there's a few examples, but like I don't know. It's
like some of the teams do like the powder blue. Sometimes I feel like doesn't Toronto do that now? And like
Texas, even that I'm kind of
like,
iffy on.
Yeah, I don't love it, but I mean, seeing something as dark as what the Dodgers were wearing, full uni. I mean,
right.
I don't know. Walker Buehler out there, Mr. Tight Pants too.
He looked fantastic out of it. Yeah, but
man, I don't know. I feel like even they could have just done stuff based off of California. Like even have like a palm tree on like one of the sleeves or something. I don't know. Or
I think
something like that.
I think on like the sleeves there's like a little like graffiti kind of like looking thing because like that's obviously a huge thing in LA. But so like that was cool, I guess. But yeah, just a kind of a missed opportunity. There was a lot of different ways they could have gone with it, and this was probably not the best one.
Man, if they continue to do this every year with like different teams and stuff, let's say next year every team does it, maybe. Dodgers gotta fix that up because that was just not ideal.
No, I still think the White Sox are the best looking one.
Yeah, those are really cool. I did like the Diamondbacks though. I gotta say
that's true. Los Serpientes, yeah.
I don't know what's worse, the Dodgers or the Cubs. They're both very similar, so
probably the Dodgers. That's true. I didn't think about the similarity. They're probably Dodgers though.
Like you'd think that the Dodgers wouldn't have wanted made it that similar. Like the only difference is like the blue is a little bit lighter,
right?
And the words are different. Like that's pretty much it. So that was kind of.
No, yeah, I'm still waiting to see some Mets Yankees ones. I don't know. I think that's next year they're coming.
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I know we talked about
this was like I think it was a test for next year, and then I think they're all going to try to do it next year. Every team maybe at certain points. So yeah, I mean the New York both teams have so much potential for those jerseys.
Oh yeah,
so we'll see what they come up with.
Like a Queens thing, a Bronx thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I want to talk Mets for a little bit with Stevie Cohen. Now, by the time we're releasing this, the whole Stevie Cohen roasting Mets on Twitter thing was about a week old, so I won't dwell on it too much. I will say though, totally justified. Like I don't like I think some people were a little on the fence about it. Completely deserved. These guys, I don't know how else to put it. They're just not getting it done. They're professionals. They've done it before. Like it's not even a bad group of guys. It's what's so frustrating. Like they're good players and they're just not producing. I mean, look at McNeil, Dom Smith, Conforto's kind of turned around a little bit. McCann, like I could just go on, but I don't know. I was fine with Stevie going out and holding them accountable.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's just so much to like delve into here. Like even going back past this tweet, like I think about 2 weeks before that, you guys were in Philadelphia and Steve Cohen went into the clubhouse before one of the games. Now,
yeah,
I've heard that does not happen very often, ever, with any owner. Maybe they'll be on the field saying hello to the players. They don't usually go in the clubhouse. That's usually like their terrain. And like, the players aren't seen in the front office boxes up there. And I heard that he was just kind of checking in with everybody, not really like giving him a speech or anything. I saw this on Chris Rose Rotation is a podcast that's out there with Chris Rose, and Trevor May is a co-host sometimes. So he was kind of explaining this. And I was like, so then 2 weeks later, you're going to go out there and completely roast him? Like, I think it's justified too, but you can't have it both ways. Like, you can't be super nice and then be a complete asshole.
I disagree because if I'm remembering the same series that you're talking about, they got swept.
Well, no, they did. Yeah. So, I just heard that like he didn't go in there and like give them a pump up speech.
No, right.
He was kind of just talking to everybody and seeing what was up. I'm like, I mean, my opinion on that is that he should never have even done that, because that
sounds very like George Steinbrenner to me, honestly. Like people were mentioning his name, so I mean, not that I don't know if he's ever actually done that, but that sounds like something he would do.
Yeah. It does sound like something he would definitely do. Again, I wouldn't agree with it that way either. I really feel like if you're the owner, you gotta let the players kind of have that, and like, I don't know. That's kind of just like, I feel like it's known as sacred territory. But yeah, then he went on Twitter, and when was it? After the Dodgers series, or was it while you guys were playing? No, you guys were playing the Dodgers now, so it was against.
It might have been San Francisco. Yeah.
Right. So did you guys won 1 or 2 against the Giants?
1 in San Francisco. So I think it was 1 of 3.
Yeah.
But
it's tough, man. Like, Pete is one of the only ones that's kind of still staying somewhat consistent on the
homered
offensive
again
side.
last night. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, also, we're gonna get into some injury stuff later, but like, Baez and Lindor aren't even playing right now, so that's kind of an issue as well.
I mean, sure, but they weren't producing when they were healthy. I don't know, man. This is why I don't talk about the Mets on this podcast. I just leave it to everything else, but it just gets my blood boiling. But anyway, that's the citrus, Steve. I don't know.
Hey, you guys are still in range, like,
that's fantastic.
In your division. You know what I mean? No, seriously, like, it's so crazy because I don't know exactly what your record is right now, but I think you might even be below 500.
Mm-hmm.
Not to like kick you when you're down, but I do think you're also about 2 or 3 games out of the division. It's not like you're getting blown out. Like, you have a shot still.
Dude, like, the thing is, Philly's like not even good. Philly just got swept by Arizona. Like, that's what's, if we were getting passed by the team I thought was like actually like a good contender, I'd be like, okay, that's fair.
And like, the Braves, I'm pretty sure did pass you guys as well.
Braves are hot. Braves have won like 8 in a row. I'll give them that, but
yeah, it's again though, like, you guys get hot for a week and Atlanta gets cold for a week. You guys are right back up there.
So it's right there for the taking.
It's very interesting division, as we've talked about so many times. Like, come the last week of September, like, the last weekend could really explain a lot and really show who the best team in that division really is, because I think only one team is making it from that division, as we both think. So
absolutely.
It's interesting, man. I don't know. We'll see if Steve's got anything else up his sleeve. I don't know if he's going to pull any other tricks out there for us.
Oh, wait. All right, some more news to get into. Miguel Cabrera just 1 home run away from 500, so they're keeping watching that in Detroit. It's cool to see. I mean, they're not going anywhere, but it's cool to see him trying to make history. I don't know how old he is now, but he probably only has a few seasons left, I'm assuming, right?
I think he's like 36 or 37 at this point.
Okay.
I think maybe even older. But he'll definitely get there. He'll get to 3,000 hits, I'm going to say, next year. I think right now he's about 50 or 60 out of 3,000 hits. So probably
with
next
like
year,
38 games to go or so, I think.
I'm going to say next year for that, unless he goes on some tear like he did back in the day. But dude, the other day though, I think it might have been against the Angels or Baltimore maybe. He hit one like to the warning track, and it would have been 500. And all the fans were just like everyone was standing up. It was in the 9th inning too, I think. So it was that would have been awesome. But I'm just waiting for it. It'll happen.
Yeah, we're keeping an eye on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ohtani, first guy, the 40 homers now. He's on pace for about 52 now. Assuming he plays the rest of the game. So,
man,
I don't. We don't really have anything to say. It's just kind of like
and he hit his 40th homer in a game that he pitched 8 innings against the Tigers.
Yeah.
By the way, like it was
It's
the
just
best
not
start.
real.
It
It's
was
just
the
not.
best start of his career, and he hit his 40th homer too. Like I just don't even know how to explain it. It's like a video game. It's
No,
crazy.
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Braves extended Travis d'Arnaud 2-year, $60 million deal, $8 million option for 2024.
Former Met.
Pretty. Yeah, don't remind me, bud. But I mean, he's got really real injury history, but
Yeah.
it's still a pretty good for $8 million a year. Like it might as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think like he's been a great clubhouse guy over there from what we've seen too. Like, he gets along great with like Freddie and everybody like that, I think. And like he was great last year. I mean, I don't think he got hurt at all last year, and he was the starting catcher on a team that almost made it to the World Series. So
Yeah,
I think that just speaks for itself. And again, I think he had some good years with you guys. I think like the year you guys went to the World Series was probably his best season as a Met.
yeah,
But then he got hurt a lot. But then I think he kind of figured some stuff out when he went to Tampa Bay after you guys. And now in Atlanta, he's just doing what everybody that goes to Tampa Bay and leaves does. So
God bless him.
yeah,
You know,
good for him.
No, and good on him, right? Like he's
Yeah.
just doing great once he leaves us. But couple other things. Giannis Antetokounmpo is now a part owner of the Brewers.
That's
So
pretty cool.
kind of following like the Pat Mahomes footsteps of
Yeah,
investing in a small market baseball team. So
I mean,
it's
hey,
cool.
if you're making the money like he is, and you're beloved in the city you're playing in, you might as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see why not. So
No, he's a
just
legend
just
now
won a
after.
championship. Yeah. So and he's a great guy. So I feel like we'll see him at a lot of Brewers games too.
Oh,
which
yeah.
will be kind of cool. So
Absolutely. And I know you wanted to get a little bit into the Yankee situation as far as like Luke Voigt, Anthony Rizzo,
yeah.
and what that's going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of been some comments that people have maybe taken the wrong way. I haven't personally. I understand it, and I'm glad that it was the way it was. But for anyone who's unfamiliar with the situation, obviously Voit and Rizzo play the same primary position at first base. And Voigt's been producing pretty well since COVID, since Rizzo was on the COVID IL. Rizzo did just come back. So I think I talked about this on a previous episode. Whenever we did acquire Rizzo, it's like when everybody's healthy, what do we do to make sure everyone's in the lineup that's the best possible hitters?
Right.
And I think being Anthony Rizzo has won a Platinum Glove, he would get the majority of the starts at first base, and then you have Voit plug in at DH, which means you have to have Giancarlo Stanton playing the outfield. But now he's been doing it for about 3 weeks, and he's been fine. He hasn't doing it every day, but he's been playing outfield pretty regularly. So I think you gotta maybe like you rotate guys with days off too. Like give Voit or Rizzo a day off every once in a while, so you could plug Stanton in at DH or something. Because not that we can afford to really have them have an off day, but everybody needs off days nowadays.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the ideal lineup for me, if we made the playoffs today and everybody happened to be healthy, I think you got to go DJ leading off at second base, Rizzo first base hitting second, Judge in right, Gallo in center, Stanton in left. Then you got Voit DHing, Gary at catcher, Gio at third, and Glaber at short. I think that you can't play the what if game. Like, what if Stanton gets hurt, or what if Judge gets hurt, or that's like irrelevant because now you have a logjam, and if you sit Voit, that just doesn't make any sense because he was a homer leader last year in the league, and I think he's hitting above like 450 in his past 10 games or something crazy. So you're not going to bench him, and you just traded for Rizzo, so you're not going to bench Rizzo.
No.
And you're not going to bench Stanton because you're paying him all this money. So I don't know. I mean, I'm curious, like, do you agree with that? And do you think that once everyone's healthy, this is something that Aaron Boone would actually do every day?
I think so. I mean, assuming Stanton stays on the field, if he's gonna stay in left, I mean, it's a big if. But I mean, I don't know. Yeah, you just have this logjam of like big sluggers who just all play like the same position.
Exactly.
So I mean, Yeah, maybe this looks different next season, depending on contracts and such. But I think right
Yeah.
now, that's the way to go.
I just feel like you have to like. There's no way, and like Voit had said some things like, "I deserve to play, just as much as Rizzo deserves to play," and
Yeah.
some people were almost taking it as like a dig at Rizzo from Voit, and it's like if you
No,
see them around each other, they're getting along fantastically.
that's a
So
soft
that's not
take.
it.
No.
And like he was just saying some other things like he's like the reason they got Rizzo is obviously because of injuries, and that's on me because I haven't been on the field. And he's like taking responsibility for it. Like
Right.
I think he's entitled to be like I think a lot of people were viewing it as he was mad, and I don't think that that's not what he was pushing. I think he was pushing that like it's frustrating if he doesn't get playing time, but he thinks he should just as much as Rizzo. I think it's more so a team perspective because Voit wants them both to be in the lineup at the same time, no matter what it is or how it happens,
Hmm.
because that gives us the best chance to win. If anybody has seen Luke Voit interviews, he's very like team oriented. He wants to win. Like he's not talking about his personal stats very much.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like if people are viewing what he said the wrong way, don't because they both deserve to play. This is the lineup that has to be there, and not everybody's healthy at the moment anyway, so it doesn't necessarily matter. But
Hmm.
that's got to be the lineup. And dude, you got like Gleyber Torres hitting ninth. I know he's
That's
not having his best season, but like
no, it's still absurd.
2 years ago, he was like our three hitter a lot. So I mean, it's just
Yeah.
crazy. So yeah, I mean, I think this has got to be what we do, though. There's
Yeah. I
no other
mean,
way around it.
Voigt led the league in home runs last year. So sure, he got banged up, but like,
Yeah,
I no, absolutely deserve a spot. And yeah,
yeah,
I don't see what he said as anything
no.
out of the box. So,
And I don't know if you've seen Stanton at all, but he hasn't looked bad in the outfield. I don't know
hmm.
if you've seen any games. He's played some games in left and some games in right.
Okay.
Um, I think you can kind of flip flop Gallo or Judge in center field too.
Right.
Like put either one. Like Stanton's got to play a corner. Obviously, you're not going to put Stanton in center
No,
field, but
no.
I think either one of them you could flop whichever way you want it. Um, but yeah, man. I mean, Yanks are hot right now too. 8 in a row, I think, maybe 9 in a row that we've won now. So
And taken over from
yeah,
Boston, the
yeah,
wild card.
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when everybody's healthy again.
Yeah. And we'll talk as far as upcoming schedules for each contender. We'll talk that in a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to do a little bit of a deep dive on as far as ejections go from foreign substances. So
Man, we've had some good ones the past few days.
two very different examples, but the Lance Lynn one I thought was so funny.
That
I
was
mean,
hilarious.
I'm assuming most people who listen to this have probably seen it, but just the ump apparently Lynn walks over to the dugout after the inning, and the ump was like late to check him. So and Lynn left what was it, his hat and his glove on the dugout
Yeah.
rail, but he forgot his belt, and the ump was like just. I guess the ump was just being a dick about it. So Lynn just like yanks the belt and just throws it over onto the field, and immediately is thrown out.
I mean, God, dude, some of these umps, they just feel like they're there because the fans want to see them. Like, no, the fans that got the tickets to this game want to see Lance Lynn, the probable Cy Young winner in the American League,
so
pitch the
dumb.
whole game. Because when I first saw this, I didn't realize that it wasn't the fact. Like I thought he got caught with
Right. That's
something.
when you sent me
When
that.
I
That's what
when
I
it
thought too.
Yeah, I sent it to you on Instagram. I remember, and like, I was like, "Wait, what? No way!" I was like, "This is gonna be huge." Imagine Lance, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like that sucks if he gets caught with something because I was a big Lance Lynn fan. I know you are too.
Right.
And then that wasn't the case. um, and I heard that like he left his stuff there, like you said. If you see the video, you can see that. And I heard that like he was going to get some kind of treatment on something. Like he wasn't at 100% that day for whatever reason. So he was kind of like annoyed already, not even at the ump, that he had to go do something in between innings to like help him
Yeah.
keep going. So then I feel like he just tossed the belt because like he's trying to do something, and he's just like, "Fuck, just fucking look at it, whatever." And like, then the ump just literally looks at him and just like gives him it. He's like,
Right
"You're
away.
out." Like, I was like,
But
"Man, you got to be kidding me."
dude, that's the thing though. Like, you don't mess with a pitcher in the middle of a start. Like, everyone knows
I
that. Like,
know.
they're in the zone. Like, that just
Like,
like
we saw what happened with Max Scherzer when they're like going through his hair. I mean, this is very similar. It's not the same thing, but like,
yeah.
these guys are competitors, man. They're like in the middle of the gauntlet here. They're not, they don't give a shit about checking their stupid belt for sticky stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. It was pretty funny to see his reaction though, and like,
It was really, and then
like,
afterwards he was like, "Yeah, I think I just hurt his feelings." Not in like a upset way. He was
man,
just like, "Yeah, I like blatantly was just like, yeah." So
dude,
he's
Lance Lynn is one of
soft.
the funniest guys. Like, if he just like this, he just says it how it is, and that's just like the
Oh yeah,
best. I love it.
no, he believes everything out there, no filter.
Yeah.
No,
But yeah, so to get into another one that happened, it was Caleb Smith got ejected, I think on Wednesday. So that was a few days ago now.
right,
For sticky stuff. Apparently. We don't know for sure, but his
allegedly.
glove was confiscated in the eighth inning, and it's been sent to New York for further evaluation. So the umpires said they, quote, found a couple of suspicious spots on his glove, unquote.
Hmm.
Okay, so to delve into this a little bit more, in this particular game, Caleb Smith was already checked 2 innings prior, and they found
They found
nothing.
nothing. Okay.
And ironically, this was the same umpiring crew that tossed Hector Santiago and confiscated his
Oh,
glove. It was the exact same guys. Phil Cuzzy, I think, was the main guy for both.
wow, they're on the
I
roll.
don't
Good for
I
them.
don't know him. I don't know how he feels about everything. I know the name, so he's been around for a while, I think, right? I know the name Phil Cuzzy. I feel like I've heard it for a while.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, I mean, Smith was obviously very angry, and he was like having to get held back when they ejected him. And in
Damn.
post game interviews, he was just saying that like the spots on his glove was only dirt. He wasn't using anything, and he was like heated mostly for the fact that like if he's suspended from this, he's going to be labeled a cheater for the rest of his life.
Hmm.
And the fact that he's saying this like so confidently leads me to believe that he wasn't using anything. But again, we'll see what happens here.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think you're gonna go out there. And again, I know that like we've seen it with steroid users before. They completely deny it until they're proven whatever.
Right,
But
right. That's what I'm
I mean,
thinking.
it's not like it's a guy like Ryan Braun or Alex Rodriguez that has like a lot to. Caleb Smith, most people don't even know who he is.
Hmm.
Um, I know I wasn't necessarily completely aware of who he is. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. What did you think? What did you see about it?
Yeah, I would hope if they were to eject to like accuse him of this, of like there was like substantial evidence of it, because you're right. Yeah, it's a big thing. It's a big deal to make, and then to potentially not even be anything. So
Which it could not be though. Like
right,
if they do find that it's nothing, he won't get suspended. Like he'll just have the ejection that had happened, but he won't be suspended. So like we'll see. I don't remember how long it takes. Do you remember from the Santiago one? I don't remember how long it took
yeah,
to
no, I
find
don't at the
out.
top of my head. I
I'm
I
pretty
just
sure.
think
What was the situation with that one? By the way, I think he appealed it, but I think he still was suspended for 10 days. Right? I'm almost
I
positive
think
that he
yeah. At
was
this point, I'm
still.
forgetting.
Yeah, but
I do think they have to find a better system for this though. It can't in the offseason they have to review as far as checking out the game or the what's even
yeah,
considered illegal. Like this was just so. I mean, we've talked about it a
yeah,
lot. This is just so.
it's
Um,
such a gray area. Like, and you know what? Like, apparently we've heard from multiple players that dirt and rosin get sticky, or like dirt and sweat and rosin get sticky.
right.
But like, how are you? How is an umpire going to touch it and be like, oh, that's like illegal or that's like sweat and rosin. Like, how are you supposed to know? There's no way they could know by like sticking their fucking fingers on it, dude. I don't know.
I will say, if you do look at like this, I was reading the New York Times article on like the average spin rate since they started enforcing it, it has gone down a lot.
Oh yeah, it has.
So, I mean,
yeah,
I'm just waiting for the offseason. I'm just waiting to see what if they can like improve this system. So,
what's crazy is like this offseason was already going to be nuts because of the CBA stuff.
Oh yeah.
Now they're going to have to figure this out. I mean, there's going to be so much shit going on this offseason, man. And I do really hope they find a better way to do this because it's not fair for the players either.
It's just not an efficient system in the middle of a game.
No. And like, yeah, I don't know. And it's just like, I feel like they do it randomly. Or do they do it to every pitcher after every inning? Or do they sometimes like not do it? I feel like I've seen them not before. Like
I was in the impression it was every. And then there's also it's before they enter too. Like last night, I was watching Kenley Jensen enter, and as he ran onto the infield, they checked it. So. Yeah, man, not. I don't know, not thrilled about any of it, but hopefully changes are on the way.
So we're going to get into now a little bit of what it seems or not what it seems. So first guy I want to talk about is probably a guy that's really under the radar, I feel like, for the average baseball fan. And I'm going to be talking about Teoscar Hernandez of the Blue Jays. So his current stats this season are insane. No one's even talking about him, but he's hitting 315, 22 homers, 84 RBIs, and an 898 OPS.
Damn.
He's played about 100 games, so he did miss some time. I believe it was because of the COVID IL at some point. But
so he missed like 20 games or so because I think we're at like 124. Yeah. So okay.
Yeah. So I mean, he broke out like last year, but it was a short season, so I feel like that's kind of why not a lot of people talked about him last year.
Okay.
But last season, over 50 games played last year, he hit 289 with 16 bombs, 34 RBIs, and a 919 OPS. So that was like a 50-game sample size. It was like, oh, like that's cool. Yeah. That's interesting. But this year, he's played 100 games, and he's got the stats he has. I mean, it's kind of nuts. And I think, like, if it wasn't for Vlad, I think Hernandez would be the obvious MVP for the Blue Jays, not of the league, just for this team.
Yeah.
And like George Springer has gotten hurt so many times this year. Hernandez is far and away been the best outfielder on this team.
Yeah.
Now for the previous 2 seasons now. And if you look at his numbers from his first 2 full seasons, he did have some time in 16 and 17. But in 2018 and 2019, this is what he averaged over 162 compared to the stats that I just gave you. Mm-hmm. He hit 235 with 24 homers, 61 RBIs, and 775 OPS. And he only averaged about 130 games both of those seasons. This year, he'll surpass it, but not by a lot. But still, he'll go past that.
Right.
And he was also an all-star for the first time this year. Last year, he won a Silver Slugger for the first time, and he's probably going to get another Silver Slugger this year, I'm assuming. And he's 28 years old. So, not everybody's going to be like Mike Trout and Bryce Harper and break through at the top peak when they're 22 years old.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense that he's doing this now because it's the prime of his career. But do you think that this is what it seems, or do you think the numbers prior are more of what he is?
I would say closer to now. I'm trying to add up this season and last season in my head right now because that's about a full season's worth. It's 151 games. So what's that? 38 homers, like 120 RBIs? The fact he's repeated it now this season, I buy it. I would, especially in such a good division that he's in.
Right.
So
like he's going against some pretty good pitching if we're looking at it right. I mean, obviously Tyler Glasnow is hurt now, but Glasnow is one of them. You got Garrett Cole. I mean, Jamison Tyone we talked about him. He's been awesome.
Right.
I mean, John Means is great. Boston's got some good guys out there. I mean, I think the Blue Jays offense is something that so many people do talk about, but it's always like Vlad or Bichette or
Springer.
Semien this year too. Marcus Semien has been having a great season, but a lot more people have got to start talking about him because
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, dude. Like, if it wasn't for Shohei and Vlad, I think he would have a good shot at like being in the conversation about MVP.
He would have a case. He's definitely the
Yeah,
most like indispensable guy because of Springer and how much he's been hurt. Like,
right.
sure, Vlad's been their best player, and probably Bo's right behind him, but definitely you could argue like most valuable to them. So
Yeah, I mean, I think like the 84 RBIs speaks for itself. Like, obviously, 22 homers is not really necessarily close to the league lead,
right,
but 84 RBIs means that he's getting hits in the right situations for this team, and
yeah.
it's not all coming from the home run. So I think that's something to look at as well. I definitely think this is who he is. And it's
Do
going to
you
be interesting whenever he becomes a free agent if he stays in Toronto because now they have Springer on the big deal. They're obviously going to want Vlad. They're going to want
have a
Bichette.
lot of
They
guys
want
to
all these
pay?
guys. So that's going to be very interesting whenever that comes up. But I think he's probably got at least 2 or 3 more years till that happens.
Yeah.
So
I think I barely knew about him before this year. I think even like Biggio and
yeah.
Gurriel probably had more
Oh
hype than
yeah.
he did.
See, but now this year I even forgot that Gurriel was like on the
Right. No,
team.
he
Honestly,
took a step back.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I have Hernandez on my fantasy team. I drafted him, so I've been keeping my eye on him for a long time,
The
and
solid late round pick.
it's worked out. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty happy about that. So another guy, we're going to stay over on the East Coast, but we're going to go over to the National League. I want to talk a little bit about Dansby Swanson. So everyone remembers him. He was part of the Shelby Miller trade back in the day.
It was a
That
while
was
ago.
a horrible trade for Arizona.
No,
because-
did not really work out.
But for Atlanta, I would say it worked out pretty well. Obviously, he hasn't been like a superstar, but like he's put up some solid seasons since he's been the everyday shortstop. But this year, his current stat line right now is 266 batting average, 24 bombs, 72 RBIs, and an 809 OPS. So obviously,
Wow.
that's not a bad OPS, but it's kind of lower than you would expect with the other numbers that he has. Maybe he just doesn't get on base much, but
I think
mean,
that's what it is.
24 homers and 72 RBIs for a shortstop that like of Dansby Swanson, like you wouldn't necessarily have expected that at this point in
No,
the season.
I've never thought of him as a power guy.
I mean, he wasn't. Let's be straight up about it. His average stats from 2017 through 2019, his first 3 full seasons, he hit 240, only 12 homers, about average per year, 58 RBIs, and a 694 OPS. That's nowhere close to what he's doing right now. And like he's been really good, particularly over the past 30 games. He's hitting 345 over the past month with 8 homers, 30 RBIs. So some easy math here. That means he's averaging about 1 RBI per game over the past month, give or take. And he's got a 993 OPS over the past 30 games. I mean,
stepping up after missing Acuna.
I mean, dude, he's like a big reason why Atlanta's done what they're doing. Obviously, Freddie and Ozzie have been a big part of it too, but like Swanson's got to get some more love, dude. I mean,
I actually had no idea he had that many homers and RBIs. So he's like he could definitely hit 30 for homers.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He could hit around 270 with 30 bombs and like close to 100 RBIs.
Right.
For a shortstop. I mean, obviously, again, we've seen guys like Corey Seager and like Francisco
Tatis
Lindor do this kind of thing, but like Swanson is like he's becoming a different kind of hitter.
Yeah.
Also, he's very durable. He's played 122 games this year for the Braves, and I think that is tied for the most games played by a player in the National League this season.
They've needed it.
All of them. Yeah, no, I know. I mean, you guys kill each other in that division. So like,
yeah,
they need everybody needs everybody on the field at once. And like, look at who's in first place in the division right now in Atlanta. Like a guy like Dansby's been playing every day. You guys have Lindor and Baez both on the IL right now. I mean,
right.
I don't think it's a coincidence who's in first place at the moment.
No,
Because
exactly.
shortstop is such an important position too.
Did Dansby make the All-Star game? I don't even remember.
No, he didn't somehow. I don't know how. I mean, I guess like he's really turned it on the past month, but like
right.
he was.
Damn, that's gonna look weird to look back like in the stats like and see this season and not with like the the
Yeah,
star next to it, unlike Baseball Reference, huh?
I know. Yeah, I just think he's like. I mean, do you think that this is the kind of player that he is now, or do you think he's just playing a little over his head?
Uh, Probably a little over his head, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. He was the number one overall pick, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
So, yeah,
it's not like he didn't have the potential this whole time, in my opinion. Like
yeah.
obviously, if you're the number one pick, I mean, I think the power is kind of coming out of nowhere. I would be interested to look at his launch angle and see if he's doing it on purpose.
I was gonna say, I feel like he's probably adjusted something. I feel like
Yeah,
2019 was like the year everyone really tried to change their approach. I
yeah.
mean, he probably was one of them. Yeah.
And he had a pretty solid season last year. Again, short sample, but like he was also like Darno was the catcher for a team that was one game away from the World Series. He was the shortstop
Hmm.
for a team that was one game away from the World Series.
Yeah.
Those are two of the most important positions on a team. And I mean, I think they both have the Atlanta fan base behind them 100,000% because they're both very underrated, I feel like, too.
He's sneaky good. I'll give him that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then one guy I wanted to mention who's the opposite, very well known, Christian Yelich, who really just has not been the same guy since 2019. So his OBP right now is 371. So like pretty solid, but his
Very
slugging
solid.
now is down to 360. He has 6 home runs this season. 0.9 WAR, if that's a stat you like, 0.9 WAR in 70 games. So he's missed. This is like a substantial amount of time with, I believe, his back. He had a back injury. He had COVID or was on the COVID
Did he have
list.
COVID too? No.
I think he missed at some point.
Yeah.
So I guess my question, like, where'd the power go? And is his back like still like a lingering issue? I mean, of course he's playing right now, but doesn't mean it's not still bothering him.
No. Yeah, I think like a back issue is something that we've seen a lot of people have that like can linger for a long time. Like I think back neck issues like are issues sometimes. Like we saw with Prince Fielder,
Oh
how
yeah,
his neck kind of just derailed him, and that sucks. We've talked
that
about it a
was a
little bit,
shit.
but like
Yeah,
I mean, I think like you gotta. It's tough because I feel like from what I've heard about back injuries is that like you have to let them heal 100% and more to like really be back. So like I
hmm
feel like I mean we know Yelich. We've seen him in interviews and stuff. He wants to be out there because he's an MVP when he's at his peak, and he wants to be a team guy, and like he is. And
yeah.
it's just like I feel like he rushes himself back sometimes because he wants to be out there, and because the Brewers gave him that contract. I mean, that's got to weigh on him if he's not on the field, and they gave him that big deal. So
Right. Well, I mean, the other thing too, obviously, is you can't afford to rest them because of the position
no,
they're in. I mean, they're definitely going to win that division. Definitely going to be honestly a World Series contender. I feel like with the pitching they have.
yeah,
So unfortunately, they just don't have the opportunity to let that back heal. If that's what's still, I'm assuming that's what the issue still is.
yeah. I mean, it's
One
just
thing,
it's
no,
his
one thing,
batting average has gone down too, which is an issue. I know batting average isn't that big of a deal, but like he was always known as a guy that gets a lot of base hits. So
yeah, man. One thing I kind of dug up, because I had forgotten how good he actually was. So 2018 wins the MVP, but then the next season he comes back in 130 games, 44 homers, 1100 OPS. So since 2010, only one guy has put up an 1100 OPS in a full season. You have any guesses?
I mean, I'm gonna guess Mike Trout.
Bryce Harper in
Oh
2015.
wow, really? Okay.
But I mean, the point of that is just to say, like, players do not typically do that. He was
No,
absolutely killing it. And I know Bellinger ended up taking that award. I hate to say, only because I think Yelich got hurt. Like, Belly had an
he did.
unbelievable season,
Yeah.
but
I feel like was that the year that Yelich like broke
broke his kneecap, I think.
right? Yeah, he fucking fouled it off his kneecap. Yeah.
So,
Because I remember that year too. He didn't play in the playoff game against the Nationals because he was still hurt. Right.
yeah.
Like that wild card game. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay.
And
Um.
I mean, you can even go on to say he would
Yeah.
probably cover Trent Grisham's spot. and then Trent Grisham booed the ground ball, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, dude, it just sucks because he was on such a roll. Like that would have
Yeah.
probably been one of the
I
better
mean,
MVP seasons in like recent memory if he had held on 2019. I mean,
well, yeah, I agree. But something that I was kind of digging up that I found interesting, like we all know that there's been conversations about juice balls.
mm-hmm.
Oh, probably 2017 was the first big year of that. Then 2018 and 19, even last year to an extent, I feel like. And then they announced this year that they like changed fucking baseballs or something that we've talked about before. So what's interesting to me is like, and you can answer this too after I read some of the stats. How much do we think that juice baseballs may have helped him from 2017 through 2019? Okay.
Okay.
So for his first 3 full seasons in Miami, again, big ballpark, so that could also have something to do with the power numbers. But his first 3 full seasons in Miami, he averaged a 291 batting average, 12 homers, 65 RBIs, and an 802 OPS. It's not terrible. I mean, that's more of like a leadoff type guy, which is what he was at the time. I
Yeah.
think he would hit first or second almost every day. Then 2017, he kind of turned it up with the Marlins. He was still with Miami.
Yeah.
But from 2017 through 2019, so that's 1 year in Miami and then 2 amazing seasons in Milwaukee. He averaged a 313 batting average, 33 homers, 96 RBIs, and a 969 OPS. In 2018 and 19, Yelich led the league in batting average, in slugging, in OPS, and in OPS plus, and he was a top 2 MVP both of those seasons, as we talked about. And then now, looking at last year and this year combined, he's played 138 games. He's hit 222 with 18 homers, 54 RBIs, and a 757 OPS. By far his worst stretch of his career.
Mm-hmm.
So, how much do you think, if those balls were juiced, do you think that affected his play?
I don't think that much. I really feel like it seems like the back, well, and his kneecap apparently,
Right.
was like the reason for the drop off. Not as opposed to like switching the baseball, but yeah, I feel like I could. I'm sure there's videos on how he's changed his swing. I feel like it was more of that. I don't really think it was the baseballs.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like I don't know, man. Like, I think I agree.
Well, it's tough because there's no way to quantify it.
Exactly. That's the issue. Like, because you could look deeper into like his homers in Milwaukee and like Cincinnati and all the smaller ballparks compared to like Marlins Park and Citi Field and like the bigger stadiums in the NL East. But like, I mean, he jumped from 12 homers about per season to 33 on average. I mean, that's like significant. That's about 20 homers more a season, and he had about 30 more RBIs than he was used to having. But I think like the batting average went up when he left too. So it's not like he just chose to be a power hitter and then said fuck it to like base hits and average. Like he led the league in batting average. I mean, it's not like that changed. So I don't think he like forgot how to hit. Like I think he's gonna figure it out at some point. What amazes me about this whole situation though is how good the Brewers are when he's not even at
I was just about to say
full potential.
Like they have not missed a beat at all.
And it's like I think he's still shown how important he is as a clubhouse leader, even when he's not playing good because of how good the Brewers are. Like obviously he's a leader there. And like he's not even I mean this year I think he's hitting very low. I mean, he's not hitting great this year at all. I mean, he's got like what 6 homers this year, like you said before, like
slugging 6? Just like fell off a cliff.
I mean, that's even like lower than his first few seasons in the big leagues. That's just crazy to me.
Imagine I told you before the season that Willy Adames would be their MVP and Yelich would be like an extremely average player.
I wouldn't have believed you. I'll be honest with you. I don't think anybody would have. So.
No.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting, but like,
hope he bounces back.
He could very well change this narrative if they go into October and he just fucking rakes. Because if he goes out there and they win the World Series and he has an insane October, I don't think anybody will give a shit what he did this season. So
yeah, No, we shall see. Getting into playoffs, though, we want to talk a little about remaining schedules for playoff contenders. This is starting with Monday, August 23rd, which is probably when we're releasing this.
Yeah.
So, looking at the toughest schedules so far, the Padres, who are really slipping right now, who I believe now they're tied at the time we're recording this, they're tied with Cincinnati for the second wildcard spot now.
Yeah, they are.
They have 91% of their remaining games against over 500 teams, including 9 against the Dodgers.
That's 9 against the Dodgers, and they have 7 against the Giants. I mean, that's almost unfair. But like, not in the sense that like we should feel bad for them, in the sense that like, if you guys saw this coming, you really should have turned it up earlier in the season. I don't understand. Do you understand the issues with the Padres? Like, I guess pitching has been a problem.
I mean, I know injuries. I think losing Tatis, they lost a pitcher, and I'm just totally blanking on now.
Well, I know Darvish is on the IL right now.
Darvish is gone now.
I mean, Nelson Lamet was another one.
Lamet's basically been gone the whole year. Basically been nothing.
It's just like, I mean,
obviously
just
Snell
think about these
has
guys
been...
in their lineup, though. Trent Grisham, Will Myers, Jake Cronenworth. They just traded for Adam Frazier.
Yeah.
They have Tommy Pham. I mean, it's Eric Hosmer, Manny Machado. It's not like they have a bad team.
No.
I don't understand what's happening. Like, I really feel like this is one of the biggest collapses we've seen in a long time from a team.
Because they went, you're right. They went all in. I mean, sure, they lost out in Scherzer. That sucked. But
that sucked. But
it's still, I still feel like it shouldn't have come to this.
I just don't understand. Like, it's not like the offensive players are necessarily having bad seasons. Like Machado was an all-star, Tatis was an all-star.
Cronenworth has been huge.
Cronenworth is an all-star too. He's awesome. Like, he's so good. And like, their bullpen has not been bad either. Mark Melancon has been one of the best closers in the league. He was an all-star as well. Like, they have all these all-stars, and then like they're slipping. They may not even make the playoffs now. 91% of games against teams above 500. That is by far the most out of any contending team. And the only okay, so for their remaining schedule, starting Monday, they only have 3 games against a team that is below 500, and that's 3 against the Diamondbacks. Every other game, every other game, they got 9 against the Dodgers. They have 3 against the Astros too, which won't be easy.
No.
4 against the Braves, who are surging. I mean, it's just like, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, so here's the flip side of that. So they're competing with Cincinnati for the second spot, right? Cincinnati has only 39% of their remaining games against over 500 teams. They have 9 against Pittsburgh, Chicago, a few, Miami, a few. Like,
4 against Washington.
I mean, dude, on paper, like, this is looking like Cincinnati's going to take them, like, fairly easily. So, I mean, I know. Maybe they prove us wrong, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be like the Padres are literally going to be scratching and clawing. And the Reds are not going to have, like, a cakewalk, but, like, it's going to be way easier for the Reds to make the playoffs than it is the Padres at this point.
Especially they get Winker back soon.
Yeah, I mean, that'll – man, this Reds team, I don't want to keep talking about them because I feel like I do all the time, but they are good, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I believed in them for a while now, so I think they're going to figure something out.
We'll see. And then a couple others I want to get into. The A's have 76% of remaining games against over 500 teams, so that's something to keep an eye on. I guess I'm thinking more so if they lose the home field in the wild card. I don't think they're necessarily going to fall out of it completely, but
as of right now, the Yankees have the top spot and the A's have
they have the top spot. Okay.
As of right now. Yes.
Right. Okay. So, well, forget that then.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me though if that is how it ends, unless, I mean, again, I'm not banking that the Yankees are going to make it, but we're hot right now. We'll talk about that when we talk about the Yanks. But like, I mean, I think the Blue Jays are kind of close. But they're not necessarily like right there. Seattle is the same way. So 76 is a lot, though.
It's worth mentioning they have 4 against the Yankees though 4 games
Yeah.
coming up. So
No, that's true.
that,
Yeah.
and then 6 against Houston. So
Yeah,
I
that's a
mean,
lot.
who knows? Well, that could drop them. But on the other
Oh yeah.
hand, if
That
they
could fucking blow them
catapult
through.
them,
Yeah, I mean that's. They also have 3 against the White Sox, which is those are going to be tough games, obviously.
yeah,
And again, like we said, Toronto's there. They have 3 against Toronto at some point, and Seattle is there too. Like I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but they're not
hmm
really leaving. And the A's have 9 games left against Seattle. That is that's a lot, dude.
could be
Let's say
interesting.
Seattle
Yeah,
wins like 7 of those. We're talking a whole lot differently about this wild card race. So
that'd be something if they slipped in.
that would
I
be
don't believe
insane.
it
Like
whatsoever, but
no.
I'll wouldn't shock me. But couple others, Philly has only 21% remaining. So, I mean, that's going to give them an edge on the Braves, who have 49% remaining against over
Yeah.
500. And then I guess the other notable one is the Dodgers have 68% remaining. Like we said, they have
Yeah.
a 9 against San Diego.
Yeah.
But if they, I believe they're 2 behind now of San
Right.
Francisco, but they do have a tougher schedule in San Francisco coming up. So,
Yeah. Um, and they only play the Giants 3 times, 3 more games
okay.
the rest of the season. So they don't really have like the like they can't just like play the Giants like 9 times and then kind of like overtake them. Like they only have 3 games against them, so they're gonna have to
Right.
hope that the Giants lose and they win. Plus,
I
again,
know.
those 9 against San Diego. Let's say the Padres go out there and win 7 of them. The Padres could be ahead of the Dodgers, which is crazy, but it's definitely possible.
Things can change quickly. I mean, I know this is kind of an obvious take. I still can't believe the Dodgers haven't caught them yet. I just feel like it's right on paper. Like this is not even close. But credit to
It's
them.
not. I
Credit to
mean,
San Francisco.
it is, yeah. Um, yeah, like Giants, we don't really have to get much into them, but they only have 57% of their games against teams above 500. So that's
hmm
about 10% lower. Probably a few games, not much of a difference there, but still, that's interesting. I mean, I think one team that like we kind of gave up on, but they're sticking around is the Cardinals. Um, they're not very far behind the Reds right now. I think they're only maybe like 3 games behind the Reds or something like that.
Okay.
I don't necessarily believe in them. But they have 59% of their remaining games against teams above 500. But what I think is interesting is that 10 of those games are against the Brewers and 6 are against the Reds.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say they somehow find something that could change a lot in that division or the wild card race as well. So
That'd be a very Cardinals thing to do. I feel like they
yeah,
always just close out the season on like a tear and just like slip in to the playoffs. That's like
exactly.
their thing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
hey, I mean, it's something to keep an eye on. I don't
yeah.
anticipate it either, but never know.
No, you never know, man. And it's like it's going to be exciting no matter
Oh
what. I
yeah,
mean, the fact that I feel like this year there's a lot more teams involved that we like that could really possibly do something. They're like trying to win. Like I feel like
yeah,
every year there's like some teams that at this point in the season are maybe like 4 games out of a wild card or 5 games out, but you're like, nah, they're not really trying to win. They're just like happening to be here. But
right.
like I think the Blue Jays and the Mariners, like yeah, maybe the Mariners aren't necessarily like this is our year, but like they don't have a bad team necessarily. And the Blue Jays are all in, obviously.
Yeah.
So again, I think we maybe the last time we recorded, we talked about how it would be cool to see a wild card with like the Yankees and the Blue Jays.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm not ruling that out. I really am not. I mean, if let's say like the A's and the Mariners beat up on
Oakland
each
starts
other
to,
or something,
right.
I don't know. That's going to be kind of interesting because I really am not giving up on Toronto, man. Their offense is just insane.
No,
So
no, they're too talented to be
yeah,
out of it right now. See if they can make
but
a run.
I mean, if we're going to talk about like you mentioned the Phillies before, though, only 21%.
Mm-hmm.
That is like nothing, dude. I mean, I think they have 3 against Milwaukee, 3 against Atlanta, and 2 against Tampa Bay. Everything else is below 500 teams. So that's crazy. Obviously, they do have 3 against you guys, though. At the moment, you guys aren't above 500, but
Right.
still, like, I mean, that you're there. So, but I think to compare that is like the Phillies have 21%, the Mets have 54% of their games against teams above 500, and the Braves have 49%. So you guys are at a significant disadvantage, and you and the Braves to the Phillies because of this. And like, I don't think it would necessarily mean the Phillies are a better team, but they kind of have a path right now, which they could either take advantage of, or they could do what the Phillies have been doing for the past decade and not take advantage of it. So,
Dude, I don't know. Like I said earlier, they just got swept by Arizona. Like I feel like they do this all the time. Like they're just talented. They just don't get it done. So I don't buy them. I buy Atlanta. I don't buy Philly.
no.
So
I mean, again, like
maybe I'll eat my words later. I don't know, but
this is just like it's crazy. They have 4 games against the D-backs coming up, 3 against Washington, who obviously gave up, 6 against the Marlins, who are not good, 4 against the Rockies, 3 against the Cubs, 3 against Baltimore, and then 4 against Pittsburgh. It couldn't be any easier, but like they're still, I feel like, gonna find a way to fuck it up. So, not to
I'm
shit on
anticipating
Phillies
it.
fans, but
No, we'll shit
I
on
mean,
Philly, but we hate Philly.
I
I'm just kidding,
see
but
it to
still.
believe. Gotta see it to believe it. I mean,
No, right.
I mean, who has the most to worry about in the American League East for dropping out of it? Like, do you think? I think the Rays have about 60% of their games against teams above 500, and that's higher than any other AL East team. But they're the Rays.
I feel like I worry more about Boston. Boston
Yeah.
does not look good.
Honestly,
And sure,
I
they
mean,
got Chris Sale.
I think Boston's. I mean, I don't want to say it, but like,
He was about to say it. He was about to say they're done.
I think they're close. I mean, they looked horrible against us. To be completely honest, we played the doubleheader on Tuesday, and then we played the game on Wednesday. They didn't look very good. Their offense has just disappeared, and their pitching has kind of shown that it's not as good as it was in the beginning of the season. So, plus their bullpen isn't great. It has like some guys. They got Barnes, who was an all-star, but other than that, it's not very good. I mean, out of teams that have like 60% of their remaining games or more against teams that are above 500.
Yeah.
So let's say that list right now is the Padres, the A's, the Dodgers, the Astros. I'm not going to count the Mariners because I really don't think they're going to take it that seriously. So we got Padres, A's, Dodgers, Astros, Brewers, and Rays. So out of those teams, who misses the postseason? Or they might all make it, but like who has the best chance to miss?
Oakland.
You think Oakland?
Yeah, I'm still going to Oakland. I don't know. I really can't predict anything from that team. But
yeah, I'm gonna say the Padres, dude. I really am.
Who would have thought that?
Not that I don't believe in them, because like they could go on a run. I know they can, but like Cincinnati looks very good, and the contrasting percentage of games against good teams, that's going to mean something, I think, because it's so much of a difference.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, getting to the I'll transition to some injuries now, but getting to the A's for a second. Did you see the play with Chris Bassett?
Oh man.
So he displaced.
That was brutal.
I don't know exactly what the term was for what happened, but I know he displaced bones in his face. So he's undergoing surgery this Wednesday. Uncertain if he's going to return this year. So I mean, if we're talking A's playoff hopes, that's a blow.
Man, yeah, he's been their ace. He was an all-star this year for the first time. Yeah, I don't know, man. That was just so scary. I hope that he's going to be all right, because that was a scary play. For anyone who hasn't seen it, I wouldn't suggest going to look at it.
I didn't watch it. I don't really plan on it.
Who hit it? Was it Moncada that hit it? Not that it really matters.
Yeah,
I know whoever it was felt horrible. You could see. Obviously, they're going to feel bad.
Yeah.
There's nothing. We see this happen too much, and like it's just a horrible situation every time it happens. Whether it's a pitcher getting a ball hit at them, or if it's a batter getting hit by a pitch.
Right.
It's just not a great situation. So
Scary.
really hope for the best for him.
Yeah. Other pitcher, his name is Jacob Degrom. He hasn't pitched in what feels like 2 years now. He's still shut down with elbow inflammation. The earliest he can return is September 13th, apparently. I think he's done. I think he's done for the year. I don't – and at the rate they're playing, there's no point even bringing him back.
Well, right. I was going to say, like, let's say they bring him back. Does it help that much and shove you guys into the playoffs or not? What do you think?
No, I think – bro, I hate to say, I think we just got to put our cards in for 2022, keep them shut down. There's no other than like him risking going out there and risking like further damage.
But here's the thing. Like, I understand that, and like these next couple weeks are gonna give us the answer to this. But
right.
Lindor and Baez are both eligible to return on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So if they do come back on Monday, both of them, and they start hitting like they can hit, and the Mets start playing better, and then you guys don't bring him back, and you miss the playoffs because of that, I don't know, man. That would be a tough look to Cohen in his first year as the owner. I know it's not all his decision, but
no, that's fair. I think
he made the Baez trade. And he made the Lindor trade in the offseason. He can't just give up because that's what the old Mets ownership would have done.
Uh-huh.
And, like, I don't know, man. I know I'm not following them as much as you do, but, like,
I just can't anticipate them turning around at this point. I don't know. If we were, like, miss the playoffs by 2 games and then they shut them, like, then I could see, like, some backlash. But
I know it would be I hate to say this, but I know this would be like a Mets thing to happen. But like I can't see the storyline of Lindor and Baez playing side by side together not leading to a playoff spot. Or like not them both not playing good.
Look at this kid.
Like,
he's so optimistic.
I really dude, like I just can't imagine in the off season where we're like hey man, Baez sucked when he came over, and like Lindor hasn't played good at all. Like I don't know. They're like this was the trade that made so much sense because like they're great friends. Baez said the only possible way he would play second base was if he got to play second base next to Lindor, and then it happened. And like if he plays good, the Mets might extend him, and then like he has to play good. I'm sorry, but like it's just like too perfect to like not. I don't know why he wasn't playing good when he first came over, and then. Lindor, I don't know what the fuck his issue's been the whole year, but maybe this rest has given him like a extra energy for like the next month. I don't know. I gotta believe, man. You gotta believe. Come on.
No, that's so fair. I just don't have the optimism you do. But God bless it. I mean, you couldn't have anticipated them playing as badly as they did. But
no.
So. Get into another player that's not on the Mets. Mookie Betts, with a hip injury, he's gonna play a simulated game tomorrow, Sunday, and he could return shortly after that. So I mean, if you're talking like NL West race that we were mentioning, it's a boost.
Yeah, no, for sure. Mookie hasn't had his best season, right? I don't believe. But
it's been a little bit of a drop off, yeah. He was I feel like he's still been banged up a little bit. And and then
I mean, if we think about the Dodgers for a second, actually, like Bellinger hasn't had his best year either. Like I know Muncy's on fire. Like I get that, but like Seager's been hurt a lot. Like they haven't had a lot of their regulars having the seasons they're supposed to have.
Yeah.
So it's not like it makes sense that they're behind the Giants, but like if those guys were playing the way that they could play, I don't think it would be a discussion. I think the Dodgers would be way ahead of the Giants. But
that would just be so unfair, though. Imagine all 9 of them were just absolutely killing it. Like that.
Plus, their bench would be insane too. What would their bench be? Like Beatty, Pujols,
McKinney,
Taylor, Lux.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's just not fair. I will say though. Quick aside, we did a whole thing a couple of weeks ago where I talked about how Harper should potentially win MVP.
Oh yeah.
What about Muncy though?
I know. I was looking at him. Like his numbers are pretty solid. I mean, better than people realize. I think. Here's what I think. The top. I mean, do you think Tatis is in the conversation anymore?
Oh yeah, because he's
Even
still
though he's been hurt so much.
he's like 6 ahead in
I
home runs
know.
right now.
Oh yeah, I don't even know how it's possible, but
I think right
like,
now it's like Tatis 1 and like I don't know, Muncy 2nd. Like I really
yeah.
I
mean,
he's such I really just like don't think of him when you think of like
no,
an MVP guy.
No. But I think like another guy that's in the conversation is definitely Freddie Freeman because of how much he's turned it on like the past month. He started out so slow. Remember that? His batting average is above 300 as of today. I think his batting average was below 250 for almost the entire first half. So
and if you're like a narrative guy who are like where you actually focus on how good a team's been over like a stretch run and how that if a player impacted that, then of course he's going to get votes because
exactly.
I mean, you're assuming they're going to hold on to the division, but still.
And let's say they hold on to it, or like let's say the Padres like missed the playoffs. Does that
That's true. That
change the fact? Does that change the fact like that Tatis is the front runner? Like
I don't think. So.
I don't know if it. I don't know if it
should.
necessarily would. Yeah, no, I don't either because like we've seen so many years where like Mike Trout has the best season ever, and like some people don't want to give him votes though because like the Angels don't make the playoffs, but like if they're the most valuable player for their team, it's the MVP. Like I don't know how to. It's a very interesting conversation. We'll have to dive into that one day way deeper and really see what we think about that. But it's going to be an interesting race, though.
No, absolutely. A few other guys to get into. George Springer, left knee sprain. No timetable on him. Like we said, they're kind of filling in without him, but still, he was red hot before he was hurt. Yeah. So, Jesse Winker, intercostal strain. No timetable.
He was also an MVP candidate at some point.
Oh yeah.
So if he comes back, we'll see.
It's been honestly a very good MVP race.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then Anthony DeSclafani, he left to start against the Mets with I think it was right ankle discomfort, and so he's awaiting MRI results. By the time we release this, it might already be out. But again, another guy to look to if you're.
He's been having a great season, like insane.
Oh
DeSclafani has been unbelievable. So it's a cool story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
And then wrapping up, what series are you looking forward to this week?
So I'm looking forward to the first series between the Dodgers and the Padres after this Monday, the 23rd. It's going to be from Tuesday through Thursday this upcoming week in San Diego.
Big.
So Padres, you guys got to win at least 2 at home against these guys because, like you said, they're currently tied with the Reds. If they want to be looked at seriously, you got to win at least 2 at your home stadium against the big bad Dodgers. So it's
probably a packed house.
Oh,
like it's gonna be rowdy. That's a good one. Damn, I feel like early in the season they played a lot, and then
they did. I thought they haven't played in a while. Yeah,
it has been a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
I'll stick in that division, at least for one of the teams. San Francisco's at Atlanta Friday through Sunday, so you're looking at 2 teams are barely clinging on to their divisions. San Francisco, like we said, is just 2 up now. Again, that could change, but it's important. I don't know what else to put.
That's a potential playoff series too. That's going to be
true. That's true.
Yeah. All right. So final thing, we're going to give a stat of the week. So we finally have a new longest homer for this season that is closer to 500 feet. Obviously, it was in Colorado because where else would it be?
Figures.
Tommy Pham, I think
it was Tommy Pham hit it?
Yes, Tommy Pham hit it. I think it was on Wednesday or Thursday or something. In Colorado, he hit one 486 feet. I mean, I don't know if you saw it or not. It was
no, I haven't seen it.
Like, wow, man. So that was a day the Padres lost, but they hit like back-to-back homers. And Pham's was the third one. And like, I think Cronenworth and Myers might have hit the other 2. Maybe, I forget. But I mean, this thing was absolutely crushed. It was to left center field. I mean, it was like back in the fucking pavilion, like where guys were
Jeez.
hitting it in the derby. It was crazy.
Imagine you're the pitcher. You've already given up 2 in a row, and then this guy just goes 486 feet on you. Like, how do you
That's when
feel
you
after that?
gotta just be like, you gotta yell to your coach, like, "Hey, it's time for me to leave the
All
game
right,
now."
please come out.
So
Jeez,
yeah,
I mean,
that was. We'll see if anyone hits a 500 footer this year. I don't know. I know that Stanton used to do it
I
every
was
single
gonna
year
say
in Colorado, but obviously the Yankees aren't going to Colorado, so I
no.
don't know if that's going to happen. But you can see some big guys out there. Like Bellinger always has the potential to smash one in Colorado for
Right.
sure. So,
I could see him doing it.
but yeah, 486. That's a big boy homer right there. So
Damn, impressive.
yeah, yeah.
So that wraps up for us. We will be back next week with more stuff. Take care.
Yep. See you guys next week.